Greetings, friends and fellow cigar box guitar enthusiasts. Welcome to part 2 of the license plate guitar. A lot has happened since part 1. If you haven't seen part 1, go check out part 1. This is part 2, and I did get some new lights. So I got a couple new shop lights in here. Yay! The reason why I got them new is because I burned them out. I plugged in this sander to the circuit, and boom, took them all out. So they ended up in the trash can. I tell you, my beard's coming back with a vengeance. Arr. Right, to get you up to speed, we carved the neck using the Shinto, and I wanted to show you this file. I also use this file. I've also had this file since I started building cigar box guitars, and I use it all the time, and it's still very, 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 very sharp, very effective, especially the curved side. The curved side here you can use for these curves here on the back of the headstock. A lot of times it works really good, kind of getting in that little groove right there. So yeah, so get yourself one of these round guys, and just keep it clean, keep it dry. Don't let it rust up. And like I said, this one here is going on 8 years, and like I said, I use it all the time. So this is one of the things I wanted to show you here. So I had to do a notch here, and then I have a huge bevel right here. That bevel being so that there's no contact between the underside of this thing and the metal. So I want the saddle is actually going to go up maybe about an inch into the notch, right about there, and that is so that the strings will cause the top to vibrate and then get to the piezo. I'll put the piezo right here, and that way I get the benefit of the string vibration and the vibration of the top of the license plate. That's the theory anyway. So let me show you why this notch was important. This notch, because this was so, the thickness of this sidewall was the same as the thickness of the guitar, I would have cut the whole thing, I would have cut it in half, right? And I didn't want to do that. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I just notched it so that they're kind of a 50-50 fit. You see that? And man, it works perfectly. Look at that, dude. Of course, I made sure that it was perfect, but now it's like one line. Maybe I can just file it just a tiny bit. If I push it together, yeah, so I can file it just a tiny bit and get like a little bit about the thickness of a dime right there. It's almost perfect. The other thing I did is I did cut these corners off, and then I started filing these with my with the fine side of the Shinto. Again, I was going away from, this is actually a little ply. It's a couple of plies in here, so I didn't want to like strip. If I go this way, if you actually go against it here, you run the risk of like chipping up that first layer of veneer, right? So you want to go with the grain, so to speak, so that you don't cause that rip. So I wouldn't go here, I would turn it around this way and go away from me. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm getting all these edges nice and then filing off the glue and just making it nice and smooth. Oh yeah, and then once I got this contoured, I traced it out on a thin piece, and this is going to be the back. Now why I need this here is because I want to put some springs in here, and I want to have access to it, right? I mean, it's not going to make sense to not have a back, right? You want for strength, and then also just to kind of contain the sound inside there. I am going to put some springs in here, like I said, and this will give me access. I'll just unscrew it to get to the back, and it'll also give me something to screw the neck into. I'll glue some blocks here on the bottom. That way I can screw the neck into it so that it's nice and sturdy with the back. So anyhow, that is where we were at now. And then also, yeah, I did want to bust out the dark stain, yay. And I'm going to dark stain everything. Put it together, then dark stain it, and then distress it, and then install the hardware and whatnot. So anyhow, that is where we were at. That is the game plan. Time to continue marching on. The other thing I'm doing real quick is this is the top. So we file down these edges nice and smooth with the file. Now I also want to get this top edge, because this license plate is going to be set back a little bit, so it's going to give me this edge right here. So I also want to knock that edge off. And again, the same thing, you want to go against, or this way, away from the layer of veneer. And what this does is it creates kind of a nice bevel right there, so that when this is on, your hand's over here, right, it's going to be nice and smooth. I'll get all these edges, right? And there's just something to be said about smooth versus those hard edges, right? It's nice. It's just kind of looks kind of worn. Again, after we stain it and distress it, it's going to really pop there on those corners. Next, I put it down here and traced the inside with pencil, just to make sure that it was repeatable every time I put it back on. Then I also wanted to measure the thickness here so that I could drill a hole right in the center of it. Now these holes here, I got 8 of them. 4 along the top, 4 along the bottom, and I'm going to use these little tuner screws to go through, because that should be plenty, in order to screw into the actual body. The other thing is, before I get carried away with the stain, I did want to drill out these guys. Now, since I'm using these tuners here for this build, and I get these tuners at cbgitty.com, there's a promo code in the link description below. I wanted to point out something here, that these shafts here are 1/4 inch. But if you look really closely, you're going to see a little washer here at the bottom. See that? I don't know if you can see that in that light. You can see right there. So that washer there it prevents it from going flat if you only drill with a 1/4 inch. So what I've discovered is that you get a 5/16, 5/16, and that's perfect for that little washer that's in there. It's perfect for that little washer, and it's also perfect for the little bushing things that they give you. It's the exact thickness that you want right there. 5/16. So drill out your holes with the 5/16 and you will never be sorry. Speaking of 5/16, I just now, so first off, I determined I'm going to have 2 rights and 1 left tuner for right-handed guitar. So what I did is I marked where they're going to be. Now I built so many of these here, I don't even measure it anymore. I just go by feel. But I did want to measure it out to make sure that I was repeatable. And lo and behold, this here is 5/16. Sorry, I should use the actual drill size there. 5/16 and 5/16 there. And this one here I measured is 7/16. So all you have to do is determine where you want it in this axis. And for the one in the back here, 5/16 and 7/16 and 5/16 here. So what that does, it allows the string to come up here and go over the shaft on this side. And for this guy here, it allows the string to come right up through the middle and then tie up on the shaft on this side. And that the strings come pretty much straight off of the 0 fret when you do that. And this one here, same thing. The string is going to come up and it's going to tie around the shaft on this side. So, like I said, I just do this by feel and by sight. I just look at it at the distance that I need to get that string to be in the right spot. I just get a little pokey, right? Put it where I want it. Bam! Get it in there. But this time, like I said, I wanted to measure it and get exact so I could give you the information. And lo and behold, if it wasn't exactly 5/16. Wow, amazing. Conspiracy. A little trick I do to keep these guys nice and straight is I get a tiny little drill and I'll drill it out first, making sure that it's nice and straight, both in this axis and in this. I take my time to make sure that first little tiny hole is straight. And then get my little Forstner bit, and then I'll go halfway on this side, and then halfway on this side. That gives me clean cuts on both sides. If I just did this and then push it out the back, it would just perhaps splinter the back. You know, but this way here, like I said, you get a clean cut here, and a clean cut here, and it kind of meets in the middle if your hole is straight. So that's a nice little trick to guys. Nice little clean circles on both sides. One, two, three, four. Ladies and gentlemen, can I introduce you to... Gentlemen, can I introduce you to... See if you recognize this song. Can I introduce you to this? Listen how fat this guitar sounds. Tappy improvise. Guys, I want to show you this really cool tapping trick here. So you're going to start off by rolling down on your thumb, and then you're going to do a double hammer, and then a tap here, and you're going to repeat, but you're going to switch strings like you're going to go. So these are going to go back and forth, and then these two are going to go back and forth. that fun? So that stain took rather nicely. Yeah, look at that back. And I also hit it with some lacquer. I do have a screw that goes through the little notch part there that kind of locks them in together. And also a little screw here that goes through this little spacer to ensure my back angle and to make sure that this little shelf here was the perfect height. So I have a shelf on this side and a shelf on this side. Then of course all the way around here for this edge to sit on. So what's next is frets, tuners, of course the pickup, and then secure the top, and then string it up, tune it up, tear it up. Do you guys remember in part one, toward the end of the video, I was saying, guys, I want to show you this other project that I've been working on that's keeping my back sore. All right, well, this is it, guys. Check this out. So I'm putting in a flagstone porch, complete with steps and stairways. It's on a foundation, a block. And these stones are freaking heavy, dude. They're like, that one there, just that one stone probably weighs 250 pounds. But anyhow, so we're doing the concrete. Got the concrete mixer back there, mortar, the angle grinder, cement mixer, wheelbarrow full of broken rocks, sand basin. Yeah, dude, I've been busy, dude. My hands are trashed, absolutely trashed. But it is golden hour here, and it is beautiful. So anyhow, that's why my back's sore. Well, it's officially cold out, so I'm officially gonna start the first fire of the season. Yay! We got old pieces of furniture, cutouts from resonators, could be heels, cardboard, yay! Getting back to the build. So the stain and the shellac, I went ahead and steel wooled everything, all the edges, the back of the neck. Then I installed two of the tuners. I wanted to show you real quick before I got too carried away. The little bushings here, these come supplied with the tuners. Right, and remember this is 5/16 and it fits right in there just snugly, perfectly. You just push it right in, like you can feel it like pop in place. And that hole right there is exactly the right thickness. It's a 1/4 inch for this guy right here. Now that's one of the reasons why we narrow this thing down, right? On the table saw when we cut these guys out here, is we want that this tuner to come out at least that far. That way you can wrap the strings around that easily, and you can see how they're all in alignment there with the 0 fret. So I'm going to put the last one on here, and then I'm going to start putting the frets on. Now normally I put the frets on first before I put the neck together with the body, but this time here we're doing it just a little bit different. Now I get this fretting saw. Here's a way that you can do this. You don't need to have that fancy dancy table saw over there. You can, if you just get one of these fretting saws here, it has what they call the kerf of 0.023. That's how thick it is. And you can get them in either pull or push. This one here happens to be a push saw, so it's cutting when you're pushing away. So what I do, obviously at this stage of the game here, I remove all the debris from the fret slots. I'm just getting all the junk, stain, sawdust, steel wool, everything, all the dirt, just getting it out. You want a clean fret slot to push that fret into. But hey, so listen, so like I said, if you didn't have one of those table saws and all you had was just one of these here, you could do it with a square. You just, using your template, you just mark out where you want it to cut, right? And just put the flat end here, and that ensures that you're gonna have a right spot here. And then you just use that outside edge, leading edge here, as your guide, right? And that makes sure that you have a nice straight fret slot. So you don't need a table saw. You could do it with just a fretting saw and a square. I also want to point out I use this bit here and drilled out about 1/8 of an inch, and that's where I'm going to embed my piezo. So on this one here, I'm just going to go for a piezo. I opted out of doing a pickup over here because I didn't want to disrupt any of that license plate right up here. So if I was to put a pick, of course I'd be ruining that. So this one here is just going to be just piezo. I'll do pickups in the other one, but I wanted to be rather safe than sorry, you know. So if you notice right where the piezo is underneath there, so it's not going to be exactly underneath the saddle, just slightly off, but half supported and half on the portion of the top plate that's going to be suspended. Does that make sense? I'm like getting the best of both worlds. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to sound. So that's what we're going to do. Next, we're going to do the frets. 0 fret, my little nifty little tie downs, dress the frets, and then we'll work on this part. First thing we got to do is clean up the mess. So I got all my fretting wire and my hammer and pliers and whatnot. Started pounding the frets in. These are actually medium-high frets. They're a little taller than I normally use. So yeah, I'm just trying them out. And the grinder, oh my gosh, yeah. The grinder I use to grind down all the tips or the edges that stick out so that your hands don't bleed. That grinding wheel right there, I tell you what, man, it's worth its weight in gold. So I use that grinding wheel to trim off all my fret ends and get them super smooth and super straight. I still got to go back and file them. And this one here, another thing that I get at CBGitty.com, it's got actually 2 sides to it, and they're like concave, so they fit exactly right over the fret. And with one motion, you can take the edges off of that. We're going to go back and file them and sand them smooth. Maybe hit them with some steel wool, but right now we're putting a bevel on every fret end. And if you look at it in the light, there's like an angle light here. You can actually see when it does not have the bevel, and then when it has the bevel, it's just like a little glim of light. You can see it. Here's something that's very important. So here's a jack, and if you see the different legs here, you have one of the legs that's got like the little indentation. It's like skinnier, and this one here doesn't have that skinny. Right, see that little skinny one there? So that little skinny one here, that's where the red one goes. So the red one goes to that one, and the ground, or the black, goes to the fat one. So red to the skinny one, and the black to the fat one. Looks like a little Apollo. Anyhow, so that is very important. You do not want to miswire that. If you put the red to the ground and the black to the hot over here, it's going to sound like crap. So I did give a little trench here. That's so that the wires could go through and so that this piezo could be directly underneath instead of off to the side, right? And so now we're just going to embed this guy in hot glue. So what I like to do is I like to put a little bit of hot glue first, and then put the piezo in it, and then some hot glue on top with a piece of paper, probably a paper towel, and then right off the bat set the tray on top of it here so that when it dries, the contour of it matches the underside of this thing here so that you have positive contact. That's my little hack. Hot glue gun. Embed the piezo. Smash it down. Make sure it's center and level. Make sure the wires are not above the plane of this wood here. This is where you have to hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait. Okay, so now I'm going to do the hot glue on the top of the piezo. Make sure that you have your piece of paper ready. This is just a paper towel. And I'm going to be generous here to the point of almost sloppy. And the reason being is because I have a contour on the underside of this, kind of a relief, the inside here. So I might need a little extra. If you touch it, it's going to get on your fingers. Definitely. Okay, so while it's hot, put this exactly, yeah, you can feel the heat coming through the metal so that you know that you have positive contact. So you got to put the license plate exactly where it's going to be when it's built, so that this contour underneath here is exactly where it needs to be, All right. Hooks for the springs. I found that 1 spring is not enough, 2 springs is just right, and 3 springs is too much. So I make sure to get a dissimilar size of spring styles. You can just experiment, and I keep them real loose. I mean, they're not very tight at all. They're definitely loose. In fact, if it's only about maybe a 1/2 inch on either of these guys here. So yeah, so this is like a 3 1/4 inch, and this is like a 3 1/2 inch. And just round head screws, strategically placed, and listen to the resonance of this thing. You can tell where the wood is, huh? Where the piezo. This is called a shutter hinge. And I just like it because it's got like this little wrap around here. And it wraps around perfectly. So I do a screw down from the top and then screw in from the side. So this thing is super secure. And then I just drill an extra hole in the middle for the 3rd string, because they only come with 2. And everybody knows that we need 3 strings. And I might as well just take advantage of the fact that I have the soldering iron out and do me some position markers. So this is dark stained with dark markers. So this is going to be a dark guitar. Strings on, 44 tuned to G, the 34 tuned to C, and the 26 tuned to E. Strings are stretching. Wow, okay, yeah. It's kind of really nice sounding. But of course, we want to hear it plugged in. Okay, so I have the delay off, reverb off. All you hear as far as delay and reverb, let me get it closer here. The only thing that you're hearing is the springs. The springs. Alright guys, so I do have a eyelet here and an eyelet here. So I will be putting this thing on a strap. So part 3 of this video series is going to be this guy here jamming, and then the follow-up with the Route 66 build, which is coming along quite nicely, and the John 3:16 build is also coming along quite nicely. I've just been focusing on getting this guy done. This guy is kind of my learning here. I did want to point out the solder burns for the position markers. Oh yeah, so what a sound. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing this one here. Up and away in my beautiful balloon. All right, guys, be sure to check out part 3 of this video series. And I did get my strings also from, you guessed it, CBGiddy.com. So guys, if you're a builder, or you want to build, or you want to get a kit, or whatever the case is, go to CBGiddy.com, check out their website, use my promo code and my affiliate link below for savings and discounts, and you're helping support this channel. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Be sure to check out part 3. All right, cheers.